Ben Affleck is a rich businessman paying James Gandolfini and Catherine O'Hara big money to pretend to be his family for the holidays. What could possibly, or hilariously, go wrong? I'm Jesse Shade for JoBlo.com telling you how to survive Christmas with a Blu-ray copy of Surviving Christmas on this holly jolly episode of Awfully Good Movies. Well, folks, the Christmas season has rolled around once again to close out 2024 with some much-needed comfort and joy. And it's been particularly surreal to see many of the classic holiday movies of my youth continue to become favorites for all new generations of kids. I don't know if the same will be said of this year's lackluster holiday flicks like Red One and Dear Santa in 20 years from now, but hey, humanity always has a way of surprising and disappointing you. Yet this isn't true for one Christmas comedy that celebrates its 20th birthday this year, when Ben Affleck decked the halls with the late, great James Gandolfini for the frosty family farce, Surviving Christmas. This flick was the last of Ben Affleck's losing streak with critics and audiences in the early 2000s, amidst his overpublicized romance with Sheely and Jersey Girl co-star Jennifer Lopez. The bad buzz around which convinced the heads of DreamWorks Pictures to delay their Affleck-starring comedy from the holiday season of 2003 to the Halloween season of 2004, where Surviving Christmas didn't survive for long at the box office and got a pile of reindeer crap from audiences and critics that quickly sent the film to home video just in time for the holidays, which funnily enough is what studios do nowadays for VOD, even with Christmas movies that are actually successful. And since I've already tackled Ben Affleck's previous entry in bad Christmas flicks, I shall find for myself as to whether the unlikely comedy duo of Bruce Wayne and Tony Soprano belongs among the worst reviewed Christmas movies ever made, for failing to make viewers go fa la la or ha ha ha. And I assure you JoBlo subscribers out there that it's just a coincidence for us to pick on a Ben Affleck movie in the same year that his second romance with JoBlo has come yet again to a close. All I will say is that I knew those two were doomed from the moment that I saw their Dunkin' commercial for this year's Super Bowl, alongside Tom Brady and, yes, Matt Damon as the Dun Kings. Don't go away, my heart. Why you dunking me, girl? Why you dunking me? I'm sorry, but once your romance has gone the same way of Al Pacino's career for that Dunkin' commercial, there's simply no coming back from that. I mean, if we're really giving Ben Affleck merchandising deals based solely on embarrassing paparazzi photos of him that go viral, then why not just have him next becoming the new spokesperson for Jack in the Box?
Don't mind if I do.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Hallelujah, and holy shit, where's the alcohol? Because it's time to spike Santa's glass of milk with Christmas spirits to play the awfully good drinking game. Take a shot or drink as we open to the familiar sounds of Andy Williams.
Andy Williams!
Playing over a montage of Chicago all decorated for the holidays, where we find a few folks having themselves a not-so-merry Christmas, such as Tom Kenny, aka the voice of SpongeBob, failing to wrap up a present for his beloved parrot Polly.
No, you silly livers! No!
And this old lady putting aside her tray of depressed gingerbread men to instead stick her head into the oven and take her life. Guess Granny won't be surviving Christmas? And even worse, the Blu-ray has a way darker alternate opening that shows some of these people straight up killing themselves. Holy baby Jesus, this feels more like the opening for a third Smile movie that's being set during the holidays.
Then what's your name, boy?
Anyway, our story opens on Ben Affleck playing millionaire ad executive Drew Latham, proposing an unconventional ad campaign to an eggnog company that encourages families to combine their non-alcoholic nog with actual alcohol.
We tell people the only way to get through the holidays is to buy your farm-fresh, fat-free, pre-spiked eggnog in a bottle.
Are you kidding? This campaign will enable so many recovering alcoholics to... I'm kidding. We're going to make so much money. Latham, you are a genius.
I'm a genius.
I already said that.
Though Drew seems to have no family of his own for the holidays, he does have a snooty girlfriend named Missy, played by Jennifer Morrison of House fame, to whom he gifts a plane ticket with him to head to Fiji for the holidays.
First class.
only for Missy to angrily reject the idea of spending Christmas with anyone else but her family.
Christmas is the family holiday.
You never even mentioned your family. Do you even have a family?
How many times does Bruce Wayne need to tell you that his parents are dead? So after Missy breaks it off with Drew, and Drew finds out that all the friends he could spend the holidays with are busy with families of their own, he takes the totally reasonable route of tracking down his girlfriend's therapist, played by legendary character actor Stephen Root, and demanding that he give him advice for his holiday anxiety while he's at the airport with his kids about to head out on holiday.
Sir, can't you see? I've got my own problems.
Could someone please invent telehealth therapy already? Because tracking down your ex-girlfriend's therapist to the airport and screaming in panic at him sounds like something OJ would have done. Dr. Freeman gets Drew off his back by advising him to write out all the grievances he's got against his absent family on a piece of paper, and burn that paper near somewhere that reminds him of childhood, which for Drew means taking a cab back to his old childhood home in the suburbs. Yet he fails to notice the family that's moved into the old house by the name of the Valcos, as made up of James Gandolfini amidst his success on The Sopranos, playing the electrician father, Tom, Catherine O'Hara in the fourth Christmas movie of her storied career as his disgruntled wife, Christine, and Josh Zuckerman, who would later grow up to be seen in Oppenheimer as their computer-addicted teenage son, Brian.
Welcome to the future, dear.
What he's doing up there, nobody's going to pay him for, because if they did, I would have retired at 17.
I'm sure that Father Valco can see this stranger out on his lawn appearing to have taken all the edibles and take care of him in a calm and peaceful manner.
I forgive you.
Or he could just go full Old Man Marley on the guy. Who would have thought that Tony Soprano would end up taking a hit out on the Batman before Oswald Cobb did?
Come on!
Drew wakes up inside his old home asking to explain himself to the Valcos over a plate of dinner, where he presents a most unusual proposition to Tom and his family.
It might be a good idea if I lived with you.
The fuck out of here.
But thankfully, Drew Latham does share at least one superpower in common with Bruce Wayne.
I'll pay you $250,000.
Welcome home, son.
And so, to the tune of $250 million, the Valco family signs a contract stating that Drew will pretend to be their visiting son up until the end of Christmas Day. Nothing inherently sad or pathetic about that at all.
Agreed!
And right from the get-go, he gets on his fake family's last nerves, once Tom discovers him eating on some of his precious salami.
It was looking good in the fridge. I had to dog some.
Is that the last of it?
Yep.
You moron, don't you know that eating Tony Soprano's cherished lunch meats is akin to shooting John Wick's dog?
Give me salami on rye, lettuce, mayo, mustard. Lettuce, mayo, mustard. Lettuce, mayo, mustard.
I swear if he takes one slice of his gabagool, he's turning Affleck into a goddamn snowman. Allegedly, James Gandolfini wasn't having himself a wonderful Christmas time on this movie's set, shutting down production on the first day by refusing to leave his trailer out of anger towards the script being completely rewritten, which forced much of the movie to be improvised by the actors.
Anybody got any ideas? I'll say anything.
Despite Catherine O'Hara being the only actor here with improv experience. But since he never got to do much comedy over his tragically short career, it's genuinely funny to see Gandolfini channeling his genuine anger off-screen and struggling to muster up some Christmas cheer on behalf of his obnoxious rich benefactor.
We gotta sing Christmas Tree first. Tom, you take the lead?
Would it make any difference to you if I didn't want to?
Not really.
Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree.
Well, turns out that Gandolfini's singing voice was not that of a soprano, but more like an alto tenor. Adding to the chaos is the doorstep arrival of Tom and Christine's previously unmentioned adult daughter, Alicia, played by a post-married with children Christina Applegate, who incidentally was only 10 years younger than James Gandolfini.
Christine, since when do you have a daughter?
It's her terrible secret.
And while she rightfully doesn't want her parents caught up in this rich asshole's crazy scheme, she hesitantly agrees to play along while Drew orchestrates them in a scripted family dinner. Yet another hackneyed sitcom device I've seen twice before in my youth on Nickelodeon shows.
I sure hope you like the meal I so lovingly prepared for the people I love.
Oh, my writer's block!
Say thank you to your mother for all her hard work cooking this meal for us.
I'm
Kelvin's mother.
The child's name is Keenan. How hard is it?
If you eat it all up, I will let you sleep with me like I never did when you were little.
Can't say I remember any Nick sitcoms that involved incest as a plot device, unless of course it was a Dan Schneider production. Plus, Drew has hired the family a beloved grandpa, who's actually a local theater actor played by Bill Macy of the 70s sitcom Maude, that goes by the hilarious moniker of Doodah.
Here he is, my Doodah.
Not a doodle over here.
Doodah.
And the fact that this amusingly out-of-place old man solely goes by the name Doodah for this entire movie is a feat of method acting genius that Jared Leto could certainly take some notes from. As for Affleck, the guy may have proven quite funny in his many collaborations with Kevin Smith, but his idea of acting funny here is to act like he just snorted a reel of Adderall before every take. He just can't quite pull off the same rich jackass character with a secret heart of gold that someone like Ryan Reynolds or Bill Murray could pull off better. And he has a strange way of showing his generosity to Tom and Christine when Tom tells Drew that he's on the verge of breaking up with her, and encourages each of them to spend some of their prize money on something that makes them happy.
What do we treat ourselves to? Clothes. Treat yourself.
For Tom, that means going full midlife crisis and buying back his old car from his teenage years, back when he was Michael Gandolfini. And for Christine, that means having her looks splattered on by Drew, who arranges for her a sexy glamour photo shoot that has her looking like Chapel Roan, as arranged by a fashion photographer played by the great Udo Kier, a man who plays the exact type of person you don't want to take sexy pictures for.
Get out. Beat it.
And as a 90s child who fell in love with her over many viewings of Home Alone and Beetlejuice, I say hell yes to Catherine O'Hara taking these sexy-ass pictures, even if her sexy face looks more like Private Joker's war face. Woohoo, I just got a lump of something in my stocking, and it sure isn't cold. What? Both Catherine O'Hara and Christina Applegate are quite funny as usual, even with a half-assed script that has Applegate now falling in love with Affleck all of a sudden simply because the two of them take a sleigh ride together to the tune of my favorite song from the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. As the two of them recover from the cold she sneezed into his mouth, ew, gross, she tells him of a cherished childhood memory of going out into the backyard after an ice storm to see an ice-covered tree in its wake. And Drew proceeds to use his seemingly endless amount of cash to surprise Alicia with a replica of that ice-covered tree out in the backyard. Too bad he ruins things once more by bringing in a full-on Christmas pageant that's packed with choir singers, wise men, little people dressed as elves, and a disturbing cartoon statue of young Alicia that looks more like Edvard Munch's The Scream.
Shut up! I'm just mad at myself for thinking that there was more to you than I thought.
No wonder Alicia isn't impressed by this. Drew puts the same amount of effort into wooing a girl that the Jigsaw Killer puts into his traps. But as the heartbroken Drew finally agrees to end things and write a check to the family, little does he know that his ex-girlfriend Missy has just received his Christmas gift while having Christmas with her real family, and is so touched that she calls Drew to let him know that their Fiji vacation is back on. But not before his parents get to meet Missy's parents, who have just driven up with her in their car parked outside the Valco's home.
I want to get out of here, but I gotta have a life to go back to.
Nah, a deal's a deal, that's it.
I'll give you another 75 grand, okay?
Uh-oh, and just wait until he finds out about the Mr. Bean guy he hired from England to cook their Christmas turkey. As for Brian and his fake grandpa, they're bonding upstairs in the boys' room while the two of them indulge in the boys' addiction to internet porno, and just happen to come across a link to those sexy pictures of his mother.
Dude. It's your mom!
Worst Home Alone sequel ever.
What?
And with Doodah busy with his last dress rehearsal for the town's annual production of A Christmas Carol, his role is now filled by his understudy from the play, whose skin is noticeably darker than that of Ben Affleck.
Is he black?
Yep.
Great, now we're gonna have to change his last name to Ben Halfbleck. And to top it all off, Alicia comes into the kitchen to apologize for her outburst to Drew, just around the same time that his actual girlfriend walks in to get some food.
You son of a bitch.
Yes, the good old "you lied to me and I suddenly hate you now" plot twist that's been seen in far too many romantic comedies and Hallmark Christmas movies to count. As if Alicia isn't somewhat in the wrong herself for falling in love with a man enslaving her parents for money, like this is a goddamn Bong Joon-ho movie. Tensions soon boil over in wacky fashion, and the entire party goes upstairs to check on young Brian, still frozen in horror looking at his mother's sexy pictures.
He would live up here in front of the screen if we'd let him, right, Tom? Oh, shit!
No. No.
It's my wife on my son's computer shooting a V for victory with her legs.
Some things cannot be unseen.
If only this poor kid knew how much worse things would get online in the age of social media, where he can now generate an AI image of Catherine O'Hara having sex with both Beetlejuice and Kevin McAllister. Before Missy takes off with her easily offended parents, she implores Drew to head off to the Fiji Islands with her for Christmas Day. But he insists on spending the holidays alone after he finally explains to Alicia what has happened to his real family.
There was no real family. My dad walked out on us on Christmas when I was 4. My mom was a waitress at the coffee shop. When Christmas came around, it was an opportunity for her to take a double shift. My Christmases were just kind of sat around the house. Mom died when I was in college.
Oh, now it all makes sense. Drew Latham's life was what inspired Tracy Chapman to write the lyrics for Fast Car. That's how he's so rich, from all the song royalties.
I didn't destroy your family. Your parents are splitting up. You just didn't want to see it.
Yeah, flawless logic right there, pal. It's okay you broke apart their family, because they were pretty well broken already. Just like it was okay that your Batman killed all those people. Look, when you are born with such a magnificent chin as Ben Affleck, the world can practically be sculpted to your very liking.
I forgive you.
The fuck out of here.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
So Drew is once again spending Christmas Day by himself in his Chicago Batcave, watching Mr. Magoo and drinking eggnog, when he finds himself visited by the ghost of Gandolfini Past looking to collect his family's check. Upon which the two men come across the tickets Doodah gave them for his starring role as Scrooge in the Community Theater's annual Christmas Carol production. Since those bastards on Broadway wouldn't let Doodah perform his one-man interpretation of Wicked, what better way for Drew and the Valcos to reconcile their beef on behalf of the weird old guy who spent most of his time smoking weed or looking at porno with their son?
Young enough to still want to do it.
We find Tom and Christine making up together just in time to reunite for Spike Jonze's Where the Wild Things Are. We find Brian in the romantic company of an actual girl instead of his right hand this time. And we find Drew walking outside with Alicia so these two can kiss and make up already.
So who are you renting for New Year's? Because us Valcos, we book up kind of fast.
This is such bullshit. We all know that Ben Affleck's heart really belonged to Stephen Root from earlier in the movie. Now the romantic chemistry between those two, off the charts.
Sir?
And so our little tale closes out over our characters sharing Christmas dinner with each other at a nearby diner. Hey, wait a minute. Isn't this kind of how, like, The Sopranos had ended as well? Get out of there while you still can, James Gandolfini, before they start playing Journey on the jukebox!
It's hunting season.
Give me a salami on rye.
Applesauce, bitch.
Surviving Christmas was originally set to be directed by Jon Favreau, whose choice to make a far more successful Christmas comedy instead opened the door to his success with Marvel and Star Wars. So it's instead helmed by Mike Mitchell, who later made the underrated Disney superhero comedy Sky High, as well as many big-name animated sequels. And while its humor can be a bit too bland and could afford to go darker along the lines of A Christmas Vacation or Bad Santa, it's genuinely not all that bad of a movie to merit all of its Razzie nominations or its single-digit score on Rotten Tomatoes that had to have been a result of how easy it was to pick on Ben Affleck back in the dying days of Bennifer Mania. It's definitely a way better comedy than Geely was, that's for sure, as well as noticeably better than the other terrible holiday comedy released that same year, Christmas with the Cranks, which has remained far more popular in the 20 years since than Surviving Christmas. Part of my affection could be sentimental value in seeing James Gandolfini and Christina Applegate in their prime, now that he's been gone for more than a decade since his tragic heart attack, and she's retired from acting due to her devastating battle with MS. But after the 10 years of crap I've had to sift through in this YouTube job, this flick is by comparison like the cinema equivalent of Charlie Brown's Christmas Tree, deserving just a little bit more love for its ever-relevant message of seeking the warmth of family and community over the holidays, as well as getting off the damn internet more often. So if you want a fun bit of harmless holiday escapism, you could survive a hell of a lot worse than surviving Christmas. In fact, you could easily watch it in a double feature with Reindeer Games, with your TV placed right over your Clarence Williams III Yule log.
Merry Christmas.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Boulder Bruce, surviving Christmas proves that nothing gets the Christmas cheer going like enslaving lower-class people for money, and rocks around the Christmas tree to a 6 out of 10. Woke up Christmas morning, got yourself some snow. James Gandolfini was the best, and we still miss him so. I'm Jesse Shade for JoBlo.com saying a genuine thanks to all you viewers and subscribers watching my show and this channel for the past 10 years and counting. We wish you all the merriest of Christmases and a happier new year for all of us, with some awesome new content for 2025. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the JoBlo Originals channel. Tell all your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all our latest videos. We are an independent company that appreciates all of your support. And we dedicate this video in the loving memories of James Gandolfini, that old guy who played Doodah, and most of all, Ben Affleck 2.0.
Why did you say that? It never roved beyond our money-changing hole.